So as we all know, Ren is dope as hell. Especially his album Sick Boy is just straight fire. This is, I guess, an interview with him on turning down Glastonbury and managing his health, which I don't know what Glastonbury is. I'm assuming that's a record label. If not, I'm sure y'all might let me know. But other than that, man, let's see what he has to say.
I would like to see my purpose as a musician as being able to, I know, yeah, exactly that, create human threads, make people feel less alone, or be able to create understanding for the people who can't really speak for themselves because they feel a little bit voiceless or they feel castrated by their condition.
Oh, he's done that more than he even knows. Like, beyond what he even knows.
Hi, I'm Nick, and I'm joined by Ren for the latest in Enemies in Conversation series. How's it going today?
It's going well, mate, yeah.
Got an amazing new album, Sick Boy, coming out very soon. What's the overall story that you're trying to tell with the album?
So the album, for me, it was like, at the start, I'd moved away from my management at the time. I kind of felt a little bit like, it was like a new transition in life. I was planning with everything to go to Canada. I was raising money for this health treatment because I'd been dealing with an autoimmune condition, which I'm still dealing with. It was basically at this time, it was just like everything was a little bit turbulent. It was right after COVID. And I was just like, I wanted to make something that was just fun for the love of it again. I didn't really plan anything other than that. I was just like, you know, everything has been for a purpose, or everything has been trying to build towards something. And I was like, I just want to make something for me. Because I was so like, in this space of like, everything just felt a bit so up in the air. Even going to treatment in Canada was like a big daunting thing. I had to move country to go for treatment. So I was like, I just want to do something. What I used to do when I was 13 is just go.
Wait, so did he move? Or is he just there? Because I've been seeing, he's there currently for treatment, but did he like move? Is he in Canada now?
There was never me thinking when I was 13, 14 years old when I started getting in production, when I get old, like, I want to do this so this happens with my career or anything like that. I was just doing it because I flipping love sitting down, making beats and making music. So I just did that again. And I started building this album. So originally there wasn't really a through line with it. It was just simply, I just wanted to make for me. And I wasn't thinking too much about it in a way. And then it just kind of grew into what it was. And then Sick Boy came because...
That's why, they might even be about to play the part that I'm talking about. But when he was in Hiren, when he was talking about like he's not making the music for them because it's not mainstream music. I feel like that goes along the lines of what he's talking about.
My mind was so occupied with health at the time because everything is geared towards going to Canada, right? To undergo like almost a year of treatment. So that started creeping and leaking into the themes of what I was writing about, and Sick Boy, which is named after the title track, became one of these experiences for me as well. So the narrative changed from just doing it for myself to this kind of, it's a bit of a tapestry. There's tracks that are just fun for the love of making it, and then there are tracks that are a little bit more symbolic of the journey that I've been on as well.
At what point did you actually realise, hang on, this isn't just a collection of tracks that I've been working on, but I feel like I can put this together into an album? Did that happen quite gradually?
No, it didn't. Nah, mate. Nah, because I had tracks lying around for a little while that made it onto this one. So, and then I had a lot of new stuff as well. No, it didn't. Once I realised at a certain point, I was like, there's quite a lot of things here and they've all got this similar feeling to them. So it almost happened by mistake. And then the album originally was meant to be 12 tracks, and it grew into 14, then it grew into 16, then it grew into 18. And I was like, I've got to get rid of some of these because like, I've got this weird thing in my head. this is a weird OCD thing. I can't release an album if it's got an odd number of songs, unless it's 11 because there's 2 double digits. This will make me sound fucking crazy. Or like 15 because that's half of 30. But it's fun.
Anybody with OCD will know what the hell he's talking about, because yes, that does make sense. Like, shit, man, everybody has their own little strategy to shit. Just don't pay it no mind. Just be thankful you heard the music.
Insanity coming through it. But like, because 13, I can't do that. 17, nah, it's wrong. So if it moved up to 14 tracks and then I wrote one more, I'm like, fucking hell, I've got to make another song to bring it up to 16. That's the way my mind worked with it.
So
but yeah,
if straight after this interview, like inspiration struck, this amazing track came out, you'd have to make another one straight after to put another 2 on the album.
Yeah,
That's
it'd
how
have to be
happy.
20. It could be 19. Nah, yeah, it'd have to be. But 20 it's a lot for an album. But yeah, I don't know.
What track on the album do you think will surprise people the most?
I think it's probably going to be Money Game Part 3, just because that was some
Straight fire. If you're watching this, then you should have seen Money Game Part 3. Shoot, we got it on the channel. Go look for it. But that shit right there, Money Game Part 3, that shit is like that.
something. I don't know, the narrative, the video concept, everything. I love films of characters who come from. It's like a growth journey where like. Or a series like Breaking Bad or Scarface, or you know, where you have this journey from innocence to corruption, and so much so that like when it's a bit of a villain character, you almost feel empathy for them, even though that like by the end of it you're like, this guy's a dickhead, but like by the end of it there's still a feeling of empathy towards them, because you're like, I can see what happened on that journey that created it, and I hadn't really heard a song like that had summarized that journey, and so I was like, I really want to write a song like that. So I guess what I'm trying to do a little bit is blur the lines between film and music, and that's always sort of something I've lent into.
That explains so much. Cause dude be making productions for real. That's like I mean, you've heard in my past reactions talking about some, yeah, this is a production, this is a movie, this is really, but this makes so much sense. This is why he constructs the pieces like he does. Okay, we on one.
A little bit more. So I think hopefully that's the one that surprises people, because yeah, I got very inspired by writing it.
What's the concept for the video?
The concept for the video, it's an interesting one. It's a journey, so it's me as the narrator, but I'm also like the narrator, the character, the perpetrator, the witness, all at the same time. A bit like the first Money Game. I'm sort of embodying a few different things, and then I'm walking through this warehouse. It was like we went to the Secret Garden party. It was a boiling hot day. I managed to get like 20 extras in these hostage sacks. It was sweaty, mate. It was painful, but we pulled it off. But and the concept is basically it's me moving as the narrator, and it was all done in a one shot. It was moving through different phases of this person, Jimmy's life, from the point of birth to corruption, and there's themes like his dad's coming in, almost relentlessly pushing him to strive for more, to be ruthlessly greedy, to almost like the embodiment of like the negative sides of the American dream, right? Be ruthless and chase what you want, and it doesn't matter if you step on anybody on the way. It's just like, and I wanted to capture that because it can become quite an insidious force. So I really wanted to capture that in narrative, and yeah.
Okay, that also makes sense, because I kinda like I said, if you see my reaction to that, I was kinda along well, not too much along that line, but I can see exactly how that is transferred.
So the video he's moving through, and some of the stuff we pulled off on the video, because I think it's out by the time this interview comes out, right? It was really cool. Like the Secret Garden party guys were wicked, because it would be like, I'll be like, can we make it rain inside? And they were like, yeah, we can probably figure out how to do that. So I was like, cool. And then they'd go off for like 2 hours, fashion together something out of hose pipes, and just make this indoor rain machine. And then we just had a lot of cool things, and we had a lot of really cool people on board. This guy Bo, who was the camera operator at the time, he just came up with some really wicked cinematic ideas for the shots, where you have these crazy panning shots. And because it's all done as a one shot, it's really important that it remains visually engaging, because I don't know if did you ever see the film Victoria? Right, so there's this, I really recommend it. It's like this independent film, and it's all done in a one take. It's 2.5 hours.
Is it the German film?
Yeah,
I have seen it.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's amazing. It's incredible.
So good.
Yeah.
Mate, that's almost what inspired me with, because I do a lot of one take stuff now in my work. I remember coming out of that, because my mate was like, oh, do you want to come watch this film? I didn't ask him anything about it. I think that was almost better. And I came out the cinema like, what the? And I just see it was so good. Like, and you forget sometimes that you're watching a one take, and then that, I feel like when it's simple like that, you almost...
A whole movie as a one take? I should probably go watch that, because god dang.
become more invested in the story, because you can have music videos where there's so much going on, and there's flashing, cutting from scene to scene, high budget, this, building blows up, I'm on top of a skyscraper with a helicopter, but like, when you refine and simplify these stories and you're just there on that journey, which I thought Victoria did really well, I feel like there's something a lot more human about it, and that's what I love. Like trying to tell those stories and make them a lot more human.
When you're working on the track, are you kind of thinking of the visuals at the same time, or does the visuals tend to come
Yeah,
later?
my mind works very much like
works?
that.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think because I started as a producer rather than a songwriter, I've always kind of had this 360 view, and even when it comes to the music videos as well, I'm almost imagining the music videos as I'm producing it, and they both...
So the 8 Sleep is a pod cover that fits on a mat.
Anyway.
Steer each other. So like I'll be coming up with the music video. So when I was writing Sick Boy, for example, there's this dialogue between me and the therapist. And the reason that came about is because I was like, this would look wicked on a music video. So it's almost like the visuals dictate the story. And the same with Money Game Part 3. Like there's a moment where I'm like, I end up paralyzed in a wheelchair. And the reason I put that in is because I thought, visually it would be so unexpected and great if this nurse comes in and wheels in a wheelchair. So yeah, for me, it's almost like 50-50 in a way. So like, because I know a lot of artists, they do the music and then they conceptualize the music video, but I feel like a lot of the time, while I'm writing the songs, the music video is becoming, it's so much an integral part of that creation process. Yeah.
Are you someone who can inspiration strike for you at any point, or do you have to kind of think, right, today's the day I'm going to go and write, I'm going to set aside some time? Like, how does it tend to work for you?
I think it works both ways, man, because like, yeah, sometimes I'll just be like, you know, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to produce some music and I'm going to play around with things until I find inspiration. And then, yeah, other times it can just be, the time it normally mostly strikes me is when I find a new artist or watch a movie or something that I haven't experienced before. I love finding like new artists and they do something and I'm like, damn, this is so good. And then there's almost like this inner, no, it's the Aries in me, but like it's in the thing of like, I've got to make something really good. And then like, I'll just like go off and be like, I get so inspired. It happened when I first...
Is there any place that I can find where Ren talks about who his favorite artists are, like his inspiration and shit? Because that'd be, I wanna find that out. Not gonna lie to you.
I saw Tash Sultana doing her loopy thing in the bedroom with Jungle, and it happened with a bunch of movies that I watched. But yeah, when I love those moments, or even if I see a live show, I'm like, that was phenomenal. It just forces me, I think, to strive for better if I see someone doing something incredible. So that's usually like one of the richest sources of inspiration for me, actually.
What do you see your purpose as an artist as being? Big question.
Yeah. I'd like to say creating threads of humanity between topics that are sometimes quite difficult to talk about. And I think it's interesting because what I've realised with the community of people that are resonating with my work at the moment is there's a voice for people either with chronic illness, who've been with anxiety disorder, social anxiety, it's a voice for people where, and I'm not trying to sugarcoat it and I'm not trying to make it anything other than as ugly as it can sometimes be or as beautiful as it can sometimes be. And I think by creating that window into that world, a lot of people feel seen. And I think it's really important to see people because it's a very isolating place to be a lot of the time. So, and sometimes, say it's like chronic health problem or anxiety where you don't want to leave the house or you don't want to talk to people, like having a companion in that time is a really important thing to do. And I think in mainstream music, sometimes it's an area that's not so much catered for. So I think being able to cater for that. And you know, beyond that, then people who have never gone through those things can almost have an empathy window so they can start to understand the people that do. And because I've had people reach out to me and go, oh, my daughter or my son has been struggling with depression and I didn't really understand what they were going through because they weren't able to articulate it.
See, that too, it's like he can help the people who are going through similar situations as him, yes, but on the other hand, he's also helping people who are trying to help people dealing with similar situations like him. I didn't even think about that, but that's a very good viewpoint because some people, if they're in the situation, they may not be the best at, you know, explaining it or wanting to open up about it or venting about it, whatever the case may be. And then you come along with something that every human being can connect with, which is music. And there you go.
And I've listened to this and it's really helped me understand and sympathize. So I think across the spectrum, even if you're not going through something, I would like to see my purpose as a musician as being able to, I know, yeah, exactly that, create human threads, make people feel less alone, or be able to create understanding for the people who can't really speak for themselves because they feel a little bit voiceless or they feel castrated by their condition.
When you released Hi Ren way back at the start of the year, did you have any inkling that it would connect with people in such an amazing way? I mean, when you go on, we can talk about the stats, it's got 60 million YouTube views, but it's the comments that are really amazing.
Yeah.
Like, I kind of got stuck in a real loop reading them all, because people are, as you say, like really connecting on a deep level. It's people talking about their own experience, people they know. Did you have any inkling it could have that kind of impact?
I knew when I stumbled across the idea that it was a pretty unique one, but funnily enough, when I came off filming that, I was like, oh, I messed that up. Like, we came off that, because basically we were in this basement that we didn't get permission to use, yeah? Like, it was just like this guy that we found on Facebook, like...
Man, F that shit. They ain't gonna be paying attention, go back and take pictures and shit, nah.
Legend, this guy called Will, and then he let us in this basement, but like half an hour into recording, we had everything set up, it was fine, everything was going well. The landlord runs downstairs and he goes, you guys need to get out of here right away. And we'd done one take at this point, and I was like, mate, please, because I had to go to Canada literally like 2 weeks later, and this was the only other time that we had the whole film crew out there. So like, if we hadn't done this, and I've been rehearsing for it for like weeks and weeks, like meticulously trying to nail that guitar part, trying to get all the facial expressions, everything. Like I planned things to excess, and then it was like, I was like, mate, please, can we just have half an hour? Like, so like, he gave us half an hour. And so we only actually managed to get 4 takes in, and in my head,
I was about to say, the song is not no average 3-minute song. It's a longer song, so that's not a lot of time at all.
I was like, oh, fuck. Because normally we go for at least like 15, 20 to make sure that we've got a safety one, and we didn't have a safety one. So I came away from that going, oh, fuck, we messed it up. Like, I was just like, it's not good. And then just, even when I watched the first run through the footage, I was like, oh, I'm not sure if it's good enough. But then I started editing together. And yeah, by the end of it, and by like, you know, I sat with the mix a little bit and polished the mix up, and then by the end of it, I remember there was a moment where I sat down with my mate Vic and I showed him it. He was just like, what the f did I just watch? And, and that response, and I was like, okay, cool. Good. I really, because he's honest, he'll be brutal.
That is a good response as a musician. or an artist. When people get that quote unquote astonished look, yeah, love it.
Really honest with me if he doesn't like it. So and then I sent it to another one of my friends who I really trusted, and he was just like, mate, this is gonna change your career. And it was right, man. Like, I put it out there, and the traction and what it did for my entire back catalogue, what it did for, like, I guess the trajectory of my career was pretty incredible. So yeah, I think those responses really helped me feel confident in it, and then just that initial response from the community. And over the course of the next 3 months, it was really surreal, because I was in Canada, obviously treating my health. So it's a weird juxtaposition, because I'm there sitting down getting IVs 5 days a week in my arm, and like going through pretty grueling treatment for autoimmune condition and post-Lyme disease. I'm just watching on the internet, the statistics go crazy, like the amount of subscribers coming in, the amount of comments, people like crazy high-level artists that I'd admired for years contacting me and going, oh, I'm really inspired by your work. And I'm like, it was amazing. But
Renegades coming out the cut, yeah,
weird timing. Yeah.
When you were having your treatment in Canada, were you able to could you be creative at that time, or was it did you not have the energy to kind of think about the next step? Was it had to be like focus on the treatment and nothing else?
For the first 3 months, I wasn't able to, I was in a massive creative block. But luckily, so I kind of almost preempted that and had this album, Sick Boy, ready to go. And I hadn't released any of the tracks. So tracks like Animal Flow, Sick Boy, all those songs. The videos had been recorded months and months before I even left for Canada. So they were in my, and I kind of knew this because I was messing around with new meds, sometimes like meds that affect your cognition. And so I was like a zombie for the first 3 months. I was out there pretty much while I was trying to find the right fit of medication and stuff. So I wasn't creative at all. I didn't pick up my guitar, I don't think, for the first 3 months. I didn't write any songs. I was just like, but what was cool was because I had all this back, I was able to, you know, upload videos, interact with the fan base, just sit down and soak in everything that was coming with Hren. It really cheered me up actually, because it was a really isolating time, and it was really like first moving to Canada. I was missing my mates back home and stuff, so it was nice to have like this song just bubbling and doing the things it did. Yeah, it's cool.
How's your health at the moment?
I'm managing a lot better than I was when I first, which is always the goal in Canada. So I'm on new medications that make me feel a lot more stable. I'm on a treatment regime that's lowering inflammation in my body. I've learned how to manage my health. It may be something I have to do my whole life, right? Because autoimmunity is a complex thing. I haven't quite figured out how to switch things like this off yet. And there's never any guarantees, but what I have done with this, it's a really comprehensive plan of nutrition, of medication, of lifestyle. I just feel better in my head and my body. My mind feels a lot more clear, and
your mind will have a lot to do with it. It will indeed. People will downplay the mentality of things, but really, the mind is strong. Very, 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 very strong.
I feel a lot more calm, and my pain levels have gone down quite a bit. I still, mate, to be honest, like I'm still haven't got the energy of a normal person. I still have to deal with, like, even right now, my legs hurt. I still have to deal with carrying the weight of feeling a little bit crap every day, but it's a lighter shade of crap. It's easy to deal with.
I feel like that's a good thing for people.
He said a lighter shade of crap. I'm gonna use that one. How's your day today? Oh, it's a lighter shade of crap. You know, not too bad.
To hear though, because sometimes with any kind of condition, we kind of hear the story that it's all about finding a cure, whereas lots of people live with conditions that are up and down their whole life. And and there isn't necessarily like an end cure. And
I think this was coming back, linking that to Hren. That's almost the sentiment I wanted to put out there, is that like when I was at my worst, like it was like I was in this mindset of I have to find a cure, and I hate this, and if I don't find a cure, I just want to die, I just want everything to be over. And like, it wasn't really until I was like, you know what, like I might have to live with this forever, but that's totally okay. Like, you know, some people are out there with missing legs, some people are out there like confined to a wheelchair their whole life. So, you know, and these people just have to carry that burden and still try and make life the most enjoyable as it can be, because, you know, we still don't know what it means to be here as human beings. We don't know what we're doing, but I feel like one of the most important things is to make it a most interesting, enjoyable experiences despite our circumstances. You know, you could be born into extreme poverty, you could be born into...
Exactly. This right here is what a lot of people do not, will not, still won't, still don't comprehend. It's like, man, make the best of it. Yeah, I know, shit sucks and different. Like, he's dealing with things that other people might not. I'm dealing with things that other people might not. Like you said, a person with no legs dealing with stuff that other people might not. But shit, some things you can't change. Some things you can't. It's out of your control, honestly. So learning to roll with the punches is real deal.
To abuse, like, so these are just the cards that I was dealt, and it wasn't really until I really sat with that and be like, that's okay, that I started being like enjoying my life. When I stopped like seeing this thing as the enemy and just started seeing it as enemy and started seeing it as a part of me, yeah, I felt a lot more at peace. But I think you can still strive for more within that. It's not just like, I'm accepting this, so I'm not going to do anything about it, because I'm still out in Canada treating it. But there's just not that pressure anymore, because if it doesn't like completely cure me, which it may not, I'm in a much better relationship with it. Yeah.
Does it affect some of the decisions you make in terms of your career? Like, would you be able to do a really big tour? Like, would you think, like, you know, I can't spend 22 hours on a video shoot, which sometimes artists do, they just kind of make it an all-nighter? Would you have to think, no, I shouldn't be doing it like that?
The video shoot, I usually shoot myself in the foot with that because I'm such a perfectionist. Like Money Game, I didn't eat all day and I was like directing everyone and I stayed there exactly until like 4 or 5 in the morning. But that's just purely because once I'm in that place, it has to be right because there's so much that's gone into it. On the
Locked in. That is what that is called. That's just how I be in this office. Lock the fuck in, or a video shoot. Lock in. That's how he makes production like he does.
back end, and I'm just a massive perfectionist with those things. I don't want to mess them up. But then with a tour, yeah, there's a much higher degree of preempting you can do there. So I don't know how my health is going to be next year. It's better now than it was. So I'm just kind of going. This year was difficult. I had to turn down a slot at Glastonbury. I had to turn down slots at a lot of these major festivals, which look really cool.
Glastonbury is a festival. Okay, that's dope. Never heard of it. I'm assuming that's in the UK or Canada, whichever. I mean, shoot, that's still dope though.
Because I had to focus on my health. So it really just is, I don't know is the answer in terms of touring, but if it is something I have to manage my whole life, it probably means that I'm not the sort of artist that'll be able to go on like 60 doors. Because you see a normal person do that and they come home like beaten, bro. So like, yeah, even if I was healthy, I'd probably try and find more interesting ways. I mean, when I start touring, I want to start doing some things that are a little bit more unexpected anyway, and I want to start making these experiences a bit more unusual. I want to start like maybe making it feel a little bit more on the ground for the people. We did this show for the Taylor, Jenny and Screech, which was like this concept that I came up with, where we just built a stage in Brighton, car park, right? We found a car park in Brighton. We didn't tell anyone that we were planning on doing this. We built this stage out of like MDF planks and stuff, and then we
That looks dope as hell. Dang, how come y'all ain't special request that? The hell? Man, y'all slacking, bro. Y'all slacking for real, because I want to see that. Special request is in the description, not the comments.
I just put a post on Instagram like, we're doing an outside show, free show, secret location. You'll be met with people in balaclavas at the train station. So we did that, we put it on, like 500 to 1,000 people showed up. They will walk to this like secret location that we had, which was actually where we filmed Screech's Tale. And we put on this show, and it was one of my favourite shows we've ever done. And the police did show up in the end, and they know me from busking, so it was like, it was just like, fuck, it's just Ren doing this thing. So they were actually really cool with it, because I've always been really respectful for them, and Brighton police police get a lot of stick, but they're actually all right. And yeah, so I spoke to them about it, and they were just like, as long as no one gets hurt, we're just here to make sure, like, keep the peace. So they turned up at the end, and that was actually fine. And yeah, it was one of my. I want to do a bit more like that, stuff like that, because I've always been a little bit more. I like doing things that are a bit more disruptive. That energy of chaos about them. Yeah.
Another amazing track you've put out this year is Suicide, which came out in June. What was the story you were trying to tell with that track, and were you in any way apprehensive about putting out such a kind of powerful song?
This is giving spoilers for me, which kind of sucks, but shoot, man.
It's funny.
Rolling with the punches.
Because that song started, I actually wrote that one in lockdown, and it was just really about my own struggles with mental health. And I had this song, and it was only like 2 minutes long. And I was like, but it's still probably like quite a singly song. And then I was like, well, if I'm feeling this feeling of like apprehension, I can either just like live with that feeling, or I can do something about it. So I was like, I just sat down at the piano. I was like, I'm just gonna add a section. I really liked, in a lot of like Kendrick tunes, he just like switches up like halfway through a tune, and the beat just goes somewhere completely different. It's been played with more and more in hip hop these days. I've noticed that happening, total vibe switch. And I was like, so I just did that. I just sat down on my piano and I came up with this kind of like melancholy piano that was very simple in the song. And then I had that line that it's hard to take off from the ground when your wings are cut, your stomach burns when you're drinking from an empty cup. And initially it was going to be about me again, or it was just going to be about my struggles. And I just started writing, and it was like unintentionally it just started flowing out. And the story of like one of my best mates who tragically lost to suicide just started leaking out for the first time in a long time, which was kind of took me by surprise, because it hadn't been something at the forefront of my mind, because it had been a long time. I'd grieved about it, I'd dealt with it, I've moved past come to terms with what had happened, and it started coming out. So obviously there's a pocket in the me there that still hadn't quite let things go or dealt with it. And as I was writing, and as that line, I dumped my youth inside a trunk inside a pickup truck and dumped them off the same bridge, the one you jumped, because he jumped off this bridge. And I just started thinking about it. Like I started thinking about it because it was true. It's like I lost my youth. I lost my innocence of youth the day that happened, and the feeling of indestructibility. And because you hear about people dying, but it never really pierces your veil of existence. It's never like your friends or people that you see every single day and like tell all your everything that you do to. And like, yeah, it was really weird not having around. And I do remember that altered my perception of life so much when it's taken away for someone you love. And yeah, it just fell out of me, and I didn't try and write it. I'd write like 2 lines, get in the vocal booth and record it, and then come back and write 2 lines. And because of that, I was crying because it was so fresh. It wasn't like something I'd rehearsed again and again. It was so there, and I just left it. I usually with takes, I'll like do 10, 20, 30 passes of them until I get it perfect. With this one, it was always just the first pass. I'd record the 2 lines, write another 2 lines, record the 2 lines, and the whole thing came together in about an hour or 2 hours, and then I just stuck it on the end of Suicide, and I think it makes it what it is. It makes it a lot more impactful.
Hearing different people's tactics and their methods of recording their pieces is really dope, because some people, that's how, there's so many ways to record pieces, songs, whatever you want to call it. That is interesting. Sometimes you got to do it that way.
And then work with this amazing animator who incorporated some elements of AI into this music video. And yeah, came together, and I'm happy with it. Yeah. On
the flip side, we touched on this earlier, but when you've had moments where you have had a creative block, is that incredibly frustrating for you because it feels like you're not doing this thing that is so important?
Well, it's funny when it's a chemically induced creative block, which is the case with the medications on my health. It feels incredibly frustrating, and I feel impotent. Like, it's like when I know my mind has the capacity to create, but a tiny little pill or an immunological dysfunctional process that's going on in my brain is creating a dam between me and this source. Because for me, creation is life. It's the life source. It's the closest thing to God that I know. And it's like when that is out of my reach because of like some chemical induction or something like that, I can't. It's probably some of the most frustrated times I've ever had. Like when I was really in the thick of my illness back in like 2015, I didn't pick up my guitar for like a whole year at one point because I couldn't. I was physically unable to because I was so weak and in pain, and like. That was one of the most difficult things about being ill, actually. It wasn't even the symptoms, it was that I knew I had the ability to do it, but I couldn't do it. It was like I was cut off from my purpose. And I think that, yeah, it's incredibly frustrating, I think.
How did you keep going in that moment when you felt like, yeah, your purpose was being taken away from you? What kept you going?
Before he even says anything, sometimes that break is necessary, which I'm sure he knows this, as an artist and everything, but sometimes that break that you got, you just gotta roll with it, because I mean you'll come back refreshed. Like he said, when he took that, he didn't pick up his guitar for 3 months, that high Ren really being able to sit down and hone in on his fan base, the audience and everything, the Renegades. Yeah, it helped him.
Probably the fact that I knew it was in my capacity to do it. Because I feel like if I didn't have this, like, if I hold on, I may be able to do this on the other side. Don't know if I'd be here. Like, if I didn't have this, like, because I was lucky that I was affirmed when I was quite young that I was good at this music thing and this creation thing, because that helped me be like, even when in the early stages, like when I get better, I'm gonna do this. When I get better, this is gonna happen. When I get better, I'm gonna do music. I'm gonna pour myself into it. And if I ever get the chance, I'm just gonna give it 100%. And I think it was that, funnily enough, the thing that frustrated me the most about my condition was the fact that I could do it, was also the thing that gave me hope. It was like this paradox, because then knowing that on the other side, because if I didn't have that, I'd be like, what am I really fighting for? Because then I could get through it all and be lost because I've just lost my 20s, and I'm like, I didn't, because that was one of the difficult things as well about being sick for my entire 20s pretty much. It's like, when I started coming out the other side, I was like 27, 28, and I'm like...
Wait, how old is Ren? He does not look that old at all. Dang, dude, he looks young as fuck.
I don't really have the opportunity to be able to mature into this age. Like, all my mates have done all these things. They've had their hearts broken. They've grown up. They've got their first proper job. They've like, some of them got married. Some of them got their first house. Like, I never had a chance to do any of those things. So I just had to land in the body of a late 20-year-old and learn to swim. Yeah.
What age did you realise that music was the thing you were meant to do? Was it very young?
Yeah.
That's an interesting thought. I never really thought about that affecting him in that way. I mean, obviously, physically, yeah, that's gonna affect him, but like lifestyle-wise, I don't know. That's just, I don't even know how to explain it. I don't know how to explain it. He said it way better than I could, but just having to jump in, you know, not being able to experience the things that his peers were experiencing. That's, yeah.
Proper young. I was lucky in that respect. I think I was about 10. My dad gave me this little beaten up guitar for one. I think he just came back from this car boot sale, and it's like this little trashed acoustic guitar. I just take it everywhere with me, man. Like, it was like a second limb. Like, I take it on the bus to school. I take it to the dismay of my teachers. I take it around with my mate's house whenever we'd hang out, and I just always be like, I've been learning John Frusciante or Kurt Cobain or Jimi Hendrix riffs or whatever. I'd just be like, I don't know why, it was just like this hyper fixation, obsession almost. Yeah.
What kind of music were you listening to growing up? Did you have a Britpop phase? Because you did the Sweet Symphony remix.
Anything good, man. But yeah, to be honest, like, yeah, I got into my Britpop. Like, I was big into Blur. I was big into, I liked the Verve. At the time, I wasn't so much an Oasis guy, but that grew on me later on. I think the only reason that put me off Oasis is because whenever I try and play somewhere, someone would be like, "Play Wonderwall, mate," and I'd be like, "Fuck off, I don't want to." And but then actually, I spent a little bit of time, and I was like, actually, yeah, Noel is an amazing songwriter, and Liam's an amazing frontman. And but it wasn't until later on that I kind of, at the time, I rejected it because of the merciless requests to play that song, man. Yeah. But I was massive into it, and I love a lot of Damon's work, man. I thought it was brilliant, and it was such a cool accolade, man. I did obviously Bit of Sweet Symphony is a British Britpop anthem, innit? It's like one of the biggest ones. So I did my own take of it. It was really just for me, man. I was doing those retakes. I did some Fatboy Slim as well, but it was really just me wanting to play around with the songs I love. I didn't really think it was going to do as well as it did, and then it was almost like my ode to. It was almost like my take of what they were trying to say. This, like, my ode to the contradictory nature of how beautiful broken middle class, working class Britain is. Like, all these different contradictions that you have. There's like a lot of poetry in it. Like I was saying, like, you have a pregnant mum with going into a pub having a pint, and like there's something beautiful about the dysfunction of the UK. I love it. I think it's my favourite country on the planet. Purely because of those things. Like, that's what I grew up just mucking about on council estates and stuff, and like there's something beautiful.
The UK is dope. If you've ever had the opportunity to go and visit and stay for a little bit, it's a very dope, good energy, colorful. People are, I don't know, they were friendly to me. I don't know if they're not friendly in certain areas or anything, but yeah, they were friendly to me.
Full about it for me, and I wanted to capture that, and it was really nice. So Sai from the Verve, he saw it. I got the email. It was mad. I got the email 10 minutes before the premiere, being like, "Oh, by the way, I'm tuning in to watch this premiere." I was like, nah. And then, I spoke to him on the phone before it dropped, and so there was a lot of pressure. I was like, "Damn, I hope he likes this, God." And then he phoned me up afterwards. He was like, "It's wicked, mate." And it was like, "I've got this guitar on when he sent you." He posted me this, like, one of 3 guitars I ever made, and I've got that in my house, my baby now. And he also then, we've spoken a few times on the phone since, and he's sorted me out with some Charles Bukowski books. He sorted me out with a few different bits. He's just been posting me. He's just like, he didn't have to do any of those things, but I think he's been really nice, and he, the chats on the phone were really inspiring for me to have someone who's been through it.
Yeah.
Almost like, sort of like mentor me in a little way through, like chat to me about what to expect, what they went through, and it's cool, man. Really cool guy. Yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned like you love the UK.
Yeah.
You grew up in Wales, you now live in Brighton. Why is Brighton the place that you've wanted to make your base? Because I think Brighton's a place where you see a lot of different types of, you see all spectrum of UK life in Brighton.
I think that's it, man. That's one of the reasons for sure. It's like the multicultural aspect, and then it's also the creative hub over there. There's a lot of people doing stuff, and coming from Wales, it's a beautiful place, but no one's doing anything in terms of like, I don't, the arts, in different parts of the arts, yeah, but in the music scene, it's where I grew up was pretty dead for what I wanted to do. So I like that Brighton's a melting pot of all different walks of life, and I like that it's so, it's a safe space to express yourself in whatever, it's to explore it. It's got a lot of really good heritage, like the mods and the rocker scene back there, and punk and stuff like that. There's a lot of cool stuff, I think, and I don't know, when you just spend time in Brighton, especially on a sunny day, you feel that it's an exciting place to be. So yeah, it suits me.
Feels like a place where anything kind of goes. You can do whatever you want there.
Exactly.
I mean, even the live performances that he'd be doing outside and stuff, I think I've seen like a couple in Brighton that are probably on my page somewhere, but it's like, so it's looked like good vibes. Like what he's saying is accurate.
Yeah.
And last question, when people hear the name Ren, what do you want to kind of pop into their head?
Well, storyteller is one, because that's something I pride myself on, is telling stories. Another one would probably be like counterculture, and it's an interesting thing. I was thinking about this. Counterculture, not necessarily, when people think of counterculture, they think of like opposition, revolution, and I think the world that we live in right now is pretty hyperpolarized. So I actually think politically or emotionally, whatever, but I think there's a lot of people shouting at each other, and I think social media is quite a contributing factor to that. But I think counterculture, when that is your status quo, is actually trying to find threads of humanity. So it's not actually this big aggressive oppositional force. It's like a counterculture of joint threads, communication, and knowing that even though that your opinion offends me, how can we find like this point of mediation between us? Because I think that's one of the most important ways forward for our longevity as a species. Even like it's a very important thing that we learn to do that better. So yeah, counterculture, a storyteller. I think those two would be brilliant to be thought about.
Amazing. Thanks so much for your time. It's been really interesting.
Dope. Wait.
Cheers. Thank you.
Damn, man. Yeah, that's tough. When you hear Ren, what do you think about? Dope. AF. Man, when you hear Brody or QualityShXt, what do you think about? You don't have to answer that question. But shoot, that's dope, man. Good insight. We'll catch you on the next one. Y'all be safe and keep supporting, because we want to see more. And give it a thumbs up. Give it a sub if you haven't already. It's just a click of a button. Just a click of a button.